Hey everybody, so we are going to be talking about ratios and proportions. You've done ratios and proportions since quite some time now, but we are just going to be reviewing it really quickly and kind of making it extreme. And you'll know what I'm talking about in just a second. Now, ratios and proportions. A ratio, and a lot of people get these confused, so you need to know this, and because you guys are smarter than this. A ratio is a comparison of two or more quantities. Ways to represent a ratio. You guys have seen it. You can represent it as a fraction. You can say the words A to B, and that's how you would pronounce this right here. It would be A to B. Remember, ratios can be simplified. In fact, you probably should. It makes your life easier. All right, so let's use this example to write our different types of ratios, just practicing. A music store has 40 trumpets, 39 clarinets, 24 violins, 51 flutes, and 16 trombones in stock. These are the people that make those math problems. Now write each ratio in simplest form. So super important right here, must be in simplest form. So trumpets to violins, we've got 40 trumpets to 24 violins. By the way, that means we would be talking about 64 instruments total in this scenario. So remember, with ratios, you would have to add it up for the total. Hint, hint for number 4. All right, so you got trumpets, 2 violins. So I'm going to reduce it by my GCF, and I know that that's going to be 8. And 8 times 5 gets me 40, and 8 times 3 gets me 24. And it's really that easy. All right, go ahead and pause the video and try number 2 and number 3. Alrighty, so as you've gotten it down, we've got 51 flutes to 39 clarinets. So what we're going to do is we're going to simplify it by our GCF. In case if you're wondering, these are both simplifiable by 3. If you don't know your 3's rule, you can figure out if any number is divisible by 3 if you just add up the digits. So 51, 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. 6 is divisible by 3, so 51 is divisible by 3. If you go 3 into 5, you can put it in one time. You have a remainder of 2. 3 goes into 21 7 times, and that gets you 17 total into 51. That's how cool this trick is. So we know this simplifies to 17. Most of you already know that 39 is going to simplify to 13. And say you didn't know that, you could also do 3 plus 9, and that gets you 12. And you know for a fact that you can divide 12 by 3. So 17 to 3 would be our simplified ratio here. All right, trombones to trumpets, it's 16 to 40. Some of you went with 4 to 10 first, because you just divided by that 4. But this is still not simplified, and you can still divide it by 2 more, and that gets you 2 to 5. A few of you might have already seen that, because 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. So knowing your GCL really helps. All right, now this next one, it's what's really going to be helpful. You've got violins to total instruments. So we've got 24 violins to the amount of total instruments. So we're going to do 40 plus 39 plus 24 plus 51 plus 16. When you add all of those up together, you get 170. Right now, I can't really see something, so I'm just going to divide it by 2 with something easy. And I get 12 divided by 85. If you can't see the GCF right away, go with a lower common factor, and then we'll see another one pop up. In this case, there isn't one. We saw one in number 3. It's not the case for number 4. This would be your most simplified ratio. Now we're going to make it and go into we're going to extend it out a little bit. Now, an extended ratio is a comparison of 3 or more quantities. So you can write extended ratios as A to B to C. Now the ratio of 2, we're going to use these, okay? Extended ratios for angle and side measures right here. And we're going to use it to do number 5 first. The ratio of 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. This is super important. 2 complementary angles is 3 to 7. You need 2 items from this. First, you have to know that since they're complementary angles, they're going to add up to equal 90 degrees. And then it's 3 to 7. So 3 times something and 7 times something, when I add those 2 things together, I will end up getting 90 degrees. So we're going to put them together, simplify, solve for x, and you get x is equal to 9. Awesome. But you're not done, because your question asked you, find the measures of both angles. So we're going to take this 9 and drop it into the x for each of these. So 3 times 9 and 7 times 9. So you end up getting 27 degrees and 63 degrees, and that is going to be your final answer. So similarly right here, and I'm going to help set this up for you, and I'm going to have you do the math and then check your work with me. All right, so we've got the angles in a triangle is 11 to 2 to 5. Find the measure of the largest angle. So we know we're going to look at this one, whatever it is. Angles in a triangle, they add up to be 180. So 11x plus 2x plus 5x is going to equal 180. Combine them all up. You're going to get 18x equals 180, which means x is going to equal 10. You need to find the largest angle, so you're going to take that 10 and drop it in, and it becomes 11 times 10, which is really 110 degrees. And there you have it. Now, here is where most people are like, what? But I thought we were doing that all along. Now, ratios and proportions. A proportion is an equation. This is super important. It's an equation because it has that equal sign that states 2 ratios are equal. Each side of your proportion is a ratio. A proportion is written as A over B is equal to C over D. Your cross product property says that for any property, A times D right here is going to equal B times C. As long as, by the way, B is not equal to 0 and D is not equal to 0, because then it just doesn't work. 0 wouldn't work there. So we're going to start off with something basic. This is something you guys have probably done in like 6th grade, 5th grade, cross multiply. Some of you have used the butterfly method, bat and ball, whatever it is, you have to cross multiply because now your ratios get harder. 4 times 7 gets you 28. X times 2 just gets you 2x. So I'm going to move that over here so you guys can see. Ooh, maybe not. I'll just write it out to the side. 28 is equal to 2x. Divide both sides by 2. You get 14 is equal to x. So this one's pretty easy. You're like, oh, I know how to do these. Now let's level up. We're going to go to number 2. you'll notice there is an entire expression here in the denominator. If it helps you, put a parentheses around it. And now we're going to cross multiply to solve for our variable. So we're going to get 5 times x plus 4 is equal to whatever 17 times 19 is. So now let's simplify. We get 5x plus 20 because we're distributing. And it's going to end up equaling 17 times 19, which is 323. Subtract your 20 from both sides. You get 5x is equal to 303. When you divide this by 5, you end up getting a decimal. And guys, decimals are numbers. Technically, this would be an exact answer as well. X equals 303 divided by 5. But really, we want to give it the most exact and precise answer possible. So in this case, that's going to be x equals 60.6. All right, I want you guys to go ahead and try number 3. You're going to end up distributing on both sides for this one, because you're going to have 18 times x minus 20 is equal to 3 times x minus 11. If you want to use a scientific calculator on this, you totally can, because I don't expect you guys to check and see if something's going to be decimals or not, and to find that answer. All right, once you've distributed out, and if you need to pause it because you're not done yet, you're going to distribute it out, move your lighter variables, etc., etc. You get x is equal to 21.8. All right, now number 4 is a harder problem in the sense that you might have learned it in Algebra 1, and if not, don't worry. Here's your refresher. We're going to do the same thing, cross multiply. So 5 times 27 and it's going to equal x minus 1 times x plus 5. So you'll notice I kind of erased that just so I could see and put those parentheses in there. So I've got x minus 1 times x plus 5. These are two binomials. You're going to have to use FOIL or the box method to go ahead and multiply these. Okay, I am going to just remind you that FOIL is first, outer, inner, and last. There we go, last. Combine our like terms, we get 135 is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. You cannot solve like this. In order to solve for a solution of your quadratic equation, you need to look for you have to have it equal to 0, because zeros is another way of saying your solutions or your x-intercepts or your roots. Hint, go look at the quadratics video if you need to. So 135 is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 5. I'm going to subtract 135 from both sides. And I get 0 is equal to x squared plus 4x minus 140. I remember that I can go ahead and use the diamond method. I put my a times my c value at the top, which is negative 140. I put my b value at the bottom. On the side, I'm going to have factors of 140 that will, in this case, subtract and give us a positive 4. That's going to give us, I know it's going to be 14 and 10. And in this case, my 10 is going to have to be negative, so I get a positive 4. I get 0 is equal to x plus 14 times x minus 10. You're going to use your zero product property. That means you set each factor equal to 0 and solve each of them separately. Well, there we go. So you should have gotten x equals negative 14 and x is equal to positive 10. So the way you would write your answer is x equals curly bracket, least to greatest numbers, close curly bracket. And this would be your final answer. Okay, now finally, you've got number 5. Number 5, you're already looking at it and you're like, oh no, this looks like a doozy. Well, don't worry, you can do it. This one, you can either use the reverse box method, you can use swing and divide, or you can use my fat dog really moves. So I am going to be doing 2x plus 5 times x minus 6. It's going to equal that 42. Let's FOIL it out first. First, outer, inner, last. When you combine your like terms, your OI terms are what are going to combine. And you get 2x squared minus 7x minus 30 is equal to 42. Subtract 42 from both sides to get it equal to 0 so you can solve for one of the solutions. Another way of saying it's 0. And now I'm going to use my fat dog really moves because I can't pull out a GCF and my A value, this number right here, is more than 1. So 2x squared minus 7x minus 72. The first step is my, which means I'm going to multiply my A times C and work with x squared minus 7x minus 144. Fat. We're going to factor this trinomial. I'm going to save you the trouble. You've got negative 144 on the top, negative 7 on the bottom, and you're going to get 16 and 9. Now, in this case, your 16 is going to be the negative, so that way you can get a negative 7. So we get x minus 16 and x plus 9. That will not get us this original one still. We have to do D, which is divide. We multiplied by the 2, so now we're going to divide both by 2. Reduce x minus 8 times x stays the same, x plus 9 over 2. And moves. Move any denominators over. You get x minus 8 equals, times 2x plus 9. So, hope you guys enjoyed that quick little breeze through of quadratics from Algebra 1. We're going to set each of these equal to 0. For this one, you get x is equal to 8. This one, you're going to end up getting x is equal to negative 9 halves. So your final answer here is going to be x equals curly bracket, which means the set of numbers, negative 9 over 2 and 8. All right, make sure you show your work. You can do this. Thanks for watching.